Howdy, Possum Patty here, and welcome to Journaling by Lamplight. Yeah, birds, we had a major storm yesterday. Well, the whole entire East Coast had a major storm. Lots of wind, lots of rain. And why did I say lamplight? Well, because the wind blew down trees everywhere, trees down on the power lines. So we had no electricity. Well, we still have no electricity. Our electricity has been out for about 28 hours. But as you can see out the window, it's sunny right now. Still very muddy because of all the rain. Matter of fact, Mr. Possum and I just took a walk up and down the street to check to see if we had any trees down close by. And there is a tree down over there, and it is laying right on the electric wires. Like, here's the wires and here's the tree, and it's leaning right on it. And the road is all washed out. And then we walked up this way, and a couple of trees came down, but they're in the woods, so they're not across the road. And we picked up some branches and stuff and threw them aside that were in the road. So Mr. Possum called the electric company and told them about the tree on the wires, and they just came and checked it. They haven't come and fixed it, but they came and checked it, so we have no electricity. So yesterday was very dark and stormy, and so, yeah, we have a generator, and the generator runs like the refrigerator, the furnace, the well pump, and a few outlets in the house, not the entire house, and not the hot water heater. No hot water right now. Anyway, so I decided to come in here, and I ran an extension cord out to the plug that's run by the generator, and I put on a couple of lamps, and I decided to do some journaling. It was still kind of dark and shadowy in here, so I didn't film it, but I'm going to show you, I'll show you two of the pages right now that I did. And let's see if we can get this uploaded, because sometimes they'll disconnect the internet when they start working on the lines. But right now the internet is up, so we'll see. But I'll load this when I can. So just a couple of days before the big storm came, I took a little walk out into the woods. So I did some nature journaling on these pages in my December Daily Caravan-shaped journal. And this is the story. I had been looking out the kitchen window, of course, when I'm doing the dishes, and into the woods, I can see a stump. And on the stump, it looked like it had a white cap. And I hadn't noticed this before. It was just very bright, white, shiny. Of course, it was sunny a few days before the storm. And I was like, I wonder what that is. And the next day I look out the kitchen window, and it's still there, and it's still bright white. And the next day I look out the window, and it's still there, and it's still bright white. I'm like, I've got to go check that out. I'm thinking maybe it's a mushroom, but a lot of times the mushrooms might start off bright white, but then they sort of, turn beige or brown after a few days. But this one was bright white for days. So finally, I decided to get my boots on, because the woods are still soggy, because we had a major storm last week, same timing, like Sunday night into Monday. And yes, our electricity did go out last week too, but not for so long of a time. It was cloudy, but I could still see that bright white stump in the woods. And I put on my boots, put on my blue boots I always wear when I march off into the woods, and headed out towards the white capped stump. So I photographed a few things along the way. I didn't get them all into the journal yet, because mostly I was focusing on what was on that stump. So why don't I take you along with me on my short walk into the woods and show you a few things. And then when you come back inside. Don't stay out too long. It's about 40 degrees. It was icy this morning. The yard, of course, had flooded, and it was turned to ice this morning. So I'm glad I got on into the woods the other day and show you what I did on these two pages. I did a few more, but I then do the other pages in another video. So come on along. I'm going to carefully step through here to go check out that stump with a lot of white on it. And here's an old stump, and it is covered with lichens and moss and mushrooms. All the logs are covered with lichens and mosses and mushrooms. And I know the man was supposed to come and take all this away. And every time we schedule him, we have a lot of rain, and this is Soggy Bottom, and he can't bring in his equipment unless the ground is dry or frozen. Ooh, here's a lot of white right here. Look at all these mushrooms. Sometimes you have to pick the mushroom and turn it over and look at the back to identify it. Okay, let's go a little further. Moving towards that white spot in the distance. Oh, look, here's an evergreen fern, a Christmas fern, a beautiful little Christmas fern. This will stay green all winter, even under the snow. And there's little bits of moss growing around these trees here. And this is probably a high bush blueberry. They grow all around Soggy Bottom. I guess they like wet feet. Oh, look at this rock. Oh, gotta pet the moss. Isn't that beautiful? That is beautiful. That rock is covered in that moss. Here's a pile of twigs that I made. One year I was out here trying to clear a path, and I kept piling up all the twigs so that I could walk around. I like to call these little pile of twigs my little habitats. The small animals can run in there for shelter, and I see songbirds hopping about them all the time. They're probably looking for insects that have taken shelter there. This young birch tree will hang on to these leaves until the spring. Okay, we're getting closer. And there it is over there. All right, so I've got to go around this tree. Now you can see that big white spot pretty clearly. There it is. Wow, that is like the whitest mushroom I've ever seen. And it's a cloudy day. You should see it when the sun is shining. Okay, here's a piece on the ground. Let's look at the back side of this. This is certainly different than that other stuff. Wow, this is very soft. It looks like it's fallen down. Looks like it was, yeah, it looks like it was up there. Look at this side. Something's been eating it, probably a slug. I can take a picture of this side. There, I'm going to leave it here. I took a picture. I'm going to see if I can identify this, because something's been eating it, I think. I think it was a little bit larger at one time, but you can see little bits everywhere. So food for something, so we want to leave it here. Okay, time to go back. There's another stick. It's a long stick. See, it goes way back there. Stick, it's like a tree, isn't it? Throw it on the pile. So this is my first nature journaling page. As you can see, there's a lot of different elements on here. I started with this very green woodsy background. And this is a sheet of paper that I got in that pile of paper I got at the flea market this past summer. And it was a beautiful green, mossy green, woodsy background. It did have an adventure sign on it. And the adventure sign did have a Boy Scout symbol right here. I took the Boy Scout symbol off, thought maybe I can use the word adventure, saved that, and put the green woods in the background on the page. Now this fellow, he's been floating around here for a while. I cut him out of a magazine, and I just love him. He reminds me of like a green man. He's like carved wood, but he's got twigs as a beard, and he's made like wood shake shingles or something. This is a very large art piece in an arboretum somewhere, I think up in Maine. And I said, oh, I just loved him. I had to save him. And I said, he's going in a journal somewhere. I put him in because he's been on a desk for quite a while. And he's made out of woods. He's very woodsy. He's got a twig beard. I figured, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and put him on this page about my little walk into the woods. Now, these cut aparts came also in that paper I got at the flea market. And there were several sheets of like outdoor adventure and camping and hiking. And look at this, caravan. So I cut some things apart to make some journaling cards. Out into the woods, I put winter solstice hike 12/17/23. I know the solstice isn't until Thursday, but it was an early solstice hike. And I put a picture of the mushroom, and there's the little cardinal because I want a cardinal on every page. I put mystery fungi on stump. And then I cut apart another one, time to hike. And I journaled about what I just told you about going out to the stump and checking out what the white fungi was. And I'm still trying to identify it. I believe it is what they call a polypore. I don't know if it's a white cheese polypore or a mossy maple polypore, but it's some kind of polypore on this stump. So those are my journaling cards, and I like this because it's got the mushroom on it and the boots, and I had my boots on it. There's another little mushroom there. And one of the cut aparts said nature, and I put that over there. And one of the cut-aparts had that little mushroom on it, so I added that and the number 11 for December daily journaling, and I put a strip of these cute little hedgehogs because there weren't any possums on the cut apart. And there are no hedgehogs in this country. I mean, there's hedgehogs as pets, but not wild hedgehogs. Okay, so that was my page for my hike to the mystery fungus. So I have a picture of it, and I'm sure I'll get it identified one of these days. I'm never in a rush or worried about identifying the mushrooms because, I'm not going to eat it. So, if it takes me a couple months to figure out what it is, that's okay. I don't have a really good mushroom book. And so I text my sister because my brother-in-law's got one, and he really couldn't figure out what it was either. So if you're a mushroom expert and you know what that is, it is on a stump. It might be a maple or a birch or an oak stump, not sure which. And I did turn it over and look at the back, and it's not the ink staining one because it was damaged and eaten, and there are no brown marks around the edges or where the mushroom was broken or where it was eating. Because if it was the ink staining one, it would have like black edges on it. It just stayed white all week, even though it's damaged. Anyway, so if you know what that is, let me know in the comments below. Much appreciated. And then I decided to go ahead and do another nature page. And this one is about the winterberry holly bush that we have in the backyard. Now, our native winterberry hollies are deciduous. They drop their leaves in the wintertime. So all you have are the branches with the berries on them. And the birds love to eat the birds love to come and eat the berries. It's a fave bird food in the wintertime. And our holly had a lot of berries on it this year. I cut out this cardinal from a Christmas card and added that on there. As you can see, the background may look a little familiar. That's an Edith Holden page. But as you can see, the holly that she's journaling about is not deciduous. It keeps its leaves all winter long. But I decided to use it anyway. I did just a little bit of journaling. I put a little snowman down here with some holly. These are just some stickers, and added the number 12 for the December daily journaling. It says holly over here. I left that even though this isn't the exact kind of holly that we have here. And I added some more stickers over here just to kind of fill in some of this empty space around the page. I did leave a few places here and there to rest your eyes. So I have the picture on a background with the bird and a little bit of journaling, and that is it. That is it. So these are my 2 December nature pages. Remember, in my other journal, I had made a list about things to, search for, look at, journal about in nature in wintertime. So I did 2 of those. I did the mushroom and I did the berries. Thanks for coming along today, and I hope everybody is safe and warm and cozy and not flooded out. And if your electricity is out, I hope you get it back on soon. I hope we get ours back on soon too. And I just want to wish everybody happy December journaling. Bye-bye.